Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Harlequin here, and welcome to another episode of HarlequinCasts Company of Heroes. This is going to be the second in an increasingly frequently occurring event here, where I'm going to go back and just take a look at one of my favorite strategic games that's out there by Relic Entertainment. So today this is going to be a 1 versus 1 game between two fine players, and the map is going to be Duclair. So what I'm going to do is just talk a little bit about this map real quick, because there are a few quick interesting things I want to point out. Then we'll go ahead and get this game underway and introduce all the players and whatnot. So, Duclair. Now, a lot of you know that I'm a bit of a World War II history buff, but when you see a name like Duclair, it's pretty easy. Even if you're not a history buff, you can figure this stuff out and figure out what's going on historically with this map. So, what do we know about the word Duclair? Well, it sounds French. Okay, so go to Google Maps, right, and type in Omaha Beach, Normandy, and do a direction search from there to Duclair, France. And you'll find that if you drive roughly 2 hours towards Germany from Normandy, you'll bump into Duclair. So it's pretty obvious that this was the Allied progression from the landings in France and towards their, counterattack against the Germans and whatnot. So and we'll take a look around this map right now. And one detail I quite like about it, and this map has changed since I saw it as a 2-player map on Company of Heroes Online. But if you take a look back here, you'll see this whole city is there. And really, if I just go to the default camera angle with the view on, you'll see that really this is really all behind one of the starting locations, and you really only ever see just a slight edge of buildings, and that's it. But if you kind of reverse out and tilt your camera angle and go up onto a hill, you'll see that they took the time to put, there's like a church back there. They just have all of these little buildings all over the place. Even in the distance, they're just sprites kind of angled at a right angle. But it's a really detailed map here, and it's very appropriate too, because on this map in particular, we have the Axis starting in the city. So it's kind of like the Axis are defending the city, and then way out here in the boonies, we have the Allies. So it just kind of sets the historical kind of event of like, oh, okay, the Allies are invading in, trying to recapture the city of Duclair. As you can see, we have the city walls all here, all the neighborhoods and the streets and the sewer and the river and all that sort of stuff. So very appropriate, and then just kind of war-torn, bombed out farms and stuff on the outskirts. But without further ado, let's take a look at the players here today. We can see on the right-hand side, playing as the Axis, defending the town of Duclair, we have WoHISENS, and I had to look up exactly how to pronounce that guild name. WoH stands for Warriors of Honor. The I guess, is either silent or used as a dividing character, but Sens would be this gentleman's name, and that will be how I'm referring to him. And his opponent today, playing as the Allies, is going to be Mr. Pontificial Swiss Guard, and he just goes by Ponti on the forums, and I will be addressing him as such. Let's go ahead and get this game started here. So while everybody's spreading out, usually I love to just sit here, when I'm just watching replays by myself and I don't really, care what viewers are seeing, I will honestly just sit here at 2x or 4x speed and watch on the mini-map forever and just kind of watch everybody. But it'll take a little while for this to develop. You can see that just by seeing them standing there, both of the initial engineers and pioneers are just building a building. So obviously they're just kind of doing standard build orders here. So taking a look around this map, this used to be a 2-player map. They kind of shrunk it down, or at least, I don't know. The players during this game talk about this as being a new map. Again, I played a lot of Company of Heroes, not Company of Heroes Online, not regular Company of Heroes. But for instance, this victory point used to be way up on the hill, just kind of like back in here. And you can even see by looking at the mini-map that these two lines are collinear, these two victory points, and then this one kind of verges off to the side there. So I think they kind of shifted that around a little bit. Much of the center of the map looks the same. You've got this very dangerous open middle ground area where a lot of intense fighting happens. A couple of nice little farmhouses and stuff down here towards the south. And the northern side, as I started with my camera controls, has kind of a big hill up here. A lot of resources and stuff in this one far back victory point. But apparently they moved that victory point back. But in general, the whole place has kind of shrunk a little bit. So again, just kind of looking around at the starting builders, we can see a first rifleman squad coming out of the barracks right now for Ponti. Meanwhile, looks like we have a first Volksgrenadier squad out there too. I love little details like this too. This was in the original map, just to kind of, add another little vector here that infantry can come across. Vehicles obviously have to enter in here. We have this nice little semi-barbed wired, thing. Okay, that's cool. Again, I'm just going to keep taking a look here at the mini-map as we see the players kind of approaching one another. We can see the riflemen moving out, the Volksgrenadiers moving out. Everybody just kind of fanning out, capturing stuff. We'll likely, obviously, just start seeing conflict right down the center. Again, I'm not too sure why this victory point was moved. It makes a lot more sense being in line with these other two in a position more like here, but who knows. And we'll take a look. And now this is a very interesting first build. I don't often see this. Is the first Jeep coming out on the field right now. Very frequently I see motorcycles used by German players because they pair so well with German machine guns. But Jeeps, on the other hand, are fun. But they're kind of vulnerable and whatnot, and they're kind of weaker sometimes too. But anyhow, we get to see some fun Jeep usage here. Check this out. Already being really clever. Notice what he's doing. He's taking cover behind this green cover with his rifleman and using his Jeep, micromanaging it to shove these guys around. He's actually pushing these guys out of cover, screwing with their pathing. You know, this is almost buggy, but it still requires a lot of micromanagement, and I think it's fine. Why not? I mean, a Jeep would do that. A Jeep pressing up against you would actually force you out of cover like that. So kind of an awkward idea there, but he totally used it very effectively. You can see the cover differential made all the difference in the world there. MG42 is set up here, so we do have a German machine gun squad here just kind of firing away. Meanwhile, this Jeep is going to have to look out. It is a little bit damaged here, even just light rifle fire. Again, for Dawn of War 2 players, when you see Jeeps and motorcycles, think like Sentinels for the Imperial Guard. They're, you know, they can be damaged pretty easily by just kind of normal weapons fire. So this Jeep is going to get repaired a little bit here by the engineers down south. And the riflemen, for the most part, have managed to just kind of win this standoff. They were able to shoot those units that were just kind of camping in the building here, and they're just going to spread out and start capping points. And again, a common theme here is just kind of avoid capping victory points early game when there's other stuff around to cap. There's plenty of time to cap victory points once you own the territory. Much more important to actually own that territory. So it looks like we have a second Volk squad out right now who's going to be putting some fire in. You can see that these guys actually got quite wounded here. They're very low hit points. There's normally 6 in the squad there, so every shot is dangerously close to killing a squad member here. It looks like they're just going to sit and take it, though. 3 gentlemen left. Heavy machine gun team setting up in the building right now. It looks like the Jeep has to look out. The squad is retreating right now. And the squad, oh no, the squad gets suppressed while it's retreating, and it looks like the, oh no, that did not work out well there at all. Really, that should never happen. I think that's what Ponti is referring to right there. You should never, when you retreat, you just retreat, but oh well. It's one of those weird bugs, and I think while all that was going on, the Jeep took a lot of damage there too. So a real terrible, terrible start there for Ponti, unfortunately, and it looks like the Axis are going to regain control over this whole area here. Looking more towards the center, the Axis at some point capped this. I see a single slightly wounded Pioneer squad back here, so I'm guessing they had a little bit of a skirmish with these riflemen. And more towards the north, the engineers are capping all around. So things are looking okay for Ponti in the north, and really good for Sens on the bottom here. So we'll have to see where that's going to go. You can see, by the way, these Pioneers are making use of their ability to salvage. They get a little bit of munitions by kind of decomposing, what's the word I want to say, deconstructing destroyed vehicles there. So that's looking pretty good. These gentlemen, I think, are just always on the field. Those are just part of the scenery. So anyhow, we do have another rifle squad out there right now. I'm going to take a look at Ponti's army. We can see he's got double riflemen and 2 engineers. Normal standard opening for allies is 4 riflemen, 2 engineers. He obviously went 3 riflemen in a Jeep, but unfortunately he did not have any luck with that there. So we can see a little bit of a couple of grenades. Oh, we got a little bit of grenade barrage coming out of these gentlemen here. You can see you got a little bit of a stun there, and whoa, okay, we got some retreat mechanics as well, kind of forcing these guys out of here. So yes, the grenades do have a chance to stun there. Anyhow, so those gentlemen had to bail away. And this is a very important point to hold on to as allies, much like this point is as well. So you can see both people are capping very, very important pieces on squares on each other's sides right now. In fact, this piece, as you can see, is threatening to kind of split the territory in half right now. This fuel depot is about to become disconnected once he finishes raising that flag. And as you can see, that little strip of land right there disconnects that fuel. Similarly, you can have the same sort of effect over here, but not quite as pronounced. Anyhow, it looks like he's going to go ahead and recapture that point for the time being here. But all I was saying was that Ponti kind of opened up with a little bit of a strange build order here. Nothing wrong with it. It was just kind of more creative, I think, trying to get clever with the Jeep usage there. We can see here that it looks like the he went ahead and upgraded his motor pool, so kind of without spending any additional stuff on his rifleman. You know, he doesn't spend any fuel on Browning automatic rifles or any other upgrades like that, sticky bombs, hand grenades, what may have you. Just went ahead, got his supply yard up, and got his motor pool out. So definitely going for a more mechanized army here. Just going to try and hold on as long as he can with his early tier 1 army here, and just kind of wait for it. So these guys down here capping this fuel point, and more towards the north we got a little bit of a skirmish going on up here as well. I'm going to go ahead and swap on over to Sens and take a look at his build here for the time being, and see what he's got out in the field right now. 2 Volk squads. Let's see here, we got a couple of Grenadiers out there, actually. So he went fast to his Krieg barracks and just started pumping out Grenadiers, and now we can see a Kampfkraft Center coming up, which he's going to be using to upgrade the veterancy of his troops, most likely. So, double Grenadiers out there, a single machine gun team, which is where exactly? It's down here, just kind of guarding this little villa. And so just kind of a little bit of skirmishing going on. The Grenadiers here are pretty fantastic once you start upgrading them. They are very hardy troops. There's only 4 of them, but you can upgrade them with Panzer Strikes, and they throw stick bombs and all that sort of stuff. So pretty good here. Grenades. I'm going to keep calling everything stick bombs because of Dawn of War 2. But you can see they're just kind of fighting back and forth here with cover. But unfortunately, these riflemen being a little bit too... And what the hell do we have here? Looks like Ponti getting really clever indeed. I'm going to jump back to Ponti's point of view. Went for a fast half-track and a fast quad 50mm gun going on there. Or 50 caliber gun going on there. I have no idea what's going on with that. We never ever used to see on Company of Heroes Online. Fast M8 Greyhound, which he's getting next, was the play for allies almost all the time. But it looks like, of course, he's going to be going ahead and trying out his new fancy half track. You can see getting the quad 50 caliber machine guns on the back of it, pretty good. Like I said, in Company of Heroes Online, this was kind of a weak unit. Most people didn't like using it, but upgraded, this guy seems to be kind of a little bit more fancy in Company of Heroes, especially in the retail beta. So let's take a look and see exactly how he's going to use this here. But of course, it allows him to resupply troops on the field. It's got some pretty good fire. And we can see, by the way, this Greyhound is out on the field right now, too, inflicting some casualties. Yes, he's going to go ahead and pick off the last little poor pioneer there. But he has upgraded the armored skirts on this Greyhound, and he's upgraded the 50 caliber machine gunner is about to come popping out of the roof there. Boop, there he is, just kind of pops up, and he's going to start taking some shots there. So that's actually looking quite good for him. This is a strong early game presence out on the field right now. You can see, however, the pack, the anti-tank gun is on the field right now too. So that's going to creep its way up. He's just got to watch out for that. The M8 Greyhound is wow, that's a little bit of a blunder that he just sat there and took it. But the M8 with its armored skirts can certainly take a couple of shots, but you just got to be real careful with these troop transports. Of course, the half-track, once it's upgraded its machine guns, can no longer transport troops. Oh, and it looks like he just happened to hit a landmine. I didn't even see that there. Really damaged, and hopefully we've got some engineers nearby. Yes, we do. In fact, they're even going to stop what they're doing in order to cap that. So continued fighting going on over the middle here. I haven't really seen either player. I'm going to go ahead and swap the minimap one more time, so please note the color changes here and check out Sens and just see if he's got any other skill points coming out here. But it's very common, I think, in Company of Heroes just to kind of see people hang on to their skill points for quite a while until they get a feeling for what they need and which commander tree would best suit them. With Grenadiers right now kind of capping the middle. And continuing to have light skirmishing over here. Oh, no. That was the anti-tank gun taking some beautiful shots right there. The interesting thing about the PaK 38 anti-tank gun for the Germans is that it's cloaked. It's not always cloaked, obviously. Once it fires, it kind of reveals itself. But as you can see, it's just kind of sneaking away there. So always got to look out for that as allies, and it's really unfortunate that he just lost that M8 Greyhound because that was a big advantage for him. This unit down here, the half-track, becomes a little bit weaker without its support. The infantry right now actually getting quite massacred by a combination of just fire from all of these gentlemen here with their green cover and whatnot. Now we have a second pack coming out as well, so definitely aware that there's a threat of armor presence on the field right now, or at least mechanized presence. He doesn't want to deal with that for the time being. Taking a look around here, we can see that it looks like the Grenadiers heading back to the north. And yeah, this is a pretty fun map. Like I said, I used to only ever play this as a 2 versus 2 map, and I had some phenomenal games on here. And it's definitely fun to kind of be having a city at your back. The feeling is very different depending on which side of the map you're playing. But it is pretty entertaining here. So